Hey, what's up, flooring family? Welcome to the Huddle. We come at you every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Central, to discuss maintaining forward progress in your flooring career. With me, as always, Mr. Daniel and Jose Gonzalez of Preferred Flooring out of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
We're here.
How's it going today, fellas?
It's going good, man.
Going good.
A little beat up, but we're doing all
Yeah,
right.
remember last week we were talking about a job where it was a planned burnout, and we started the project on Friday and worked every day, and then we're actually finishing it up today. So we're a day ahead of schedule, which worked out because we got another small thing tomorrow.
Yeah,
Another planned burnout?
yeah,
But the good thing is then everyone gets 4 days off.
yeah. I actually had to say no to a Friday, but it's okay.
Sometimes you got to say no.
Yes.
How are things
Well,
going with
gentlemen,
you?
it's great to have you on, and out of the gate here, I want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank
I
you.
hope you guys get to spend some time with family, and that's to everybody in the audience as well. Like, I hope you get to spend some time with the people that you really care about and why we do all this and work so hard. Um, you know, it's just a few days off, but man, if you take advantage of them,
You
build
got
that
to.
family unit up.
We were, our epoxy partner was just in here. He used one of our demo machines for a project today, and he came in and he's like, man, he added some stuff today, and now I'm going to have to go in on Thursday because he has to be open Friday morning. And it's actually perfect, right? Because he was like, do I charge him extra for that? And we're like, yeah, man, like you need to, that's a holiday.
Like way extra.
Yeah,
That's a
what I
great
said.
story. That's a great story to kick off talking numbers and charging what you're worth, which is today's topic. We had a similar topic way back in episode like 12 or 15 or something like that. And these are always it's kind of a nuanced subject. I think kicking it off, you got to understand what's valuable to the consumer and to the stores. I mean, for you to charge what you're worth, not everybody's worth the same, right?
Right.
That's a hard one, right? Because where do you get the metric besides yourself, right? What it is
Well, a shameless plug for Go Carrera is
Yeah, there you
a
go.
higher hammer rating. Thank you for the setup. A higher hammer rating is your clear indication that, like, I'm better trained. If you have a high kudos score and you've actually done work across a network, a high kudos score and a high hammer rating, right there, you have clear, identifiable metrics that you can say, I am one of the best. Here's my proof. This is why I'm charging more. If you don't choose to use me, I understand, but about 70% of my clients give me kudos, and most of my kudos are in this arena. Maybe it's professionalism and exceptional quality. Just as a refresher, we track 5 metrics: professionalism, attitude, punctuality, dependability, and exceptional quality. But that is the industry's only real metric that you can do that. Because you got, well, I'm certified, so am I. Well, I'm R1. Well, I'm R2. Well, I'm C3 and or C2. I'm master. And it's like, okay, well, when does it matter and when does it? I mean, it just, and no knock to any of the training entities that could go all the way through. Well, I'm CTI. Well, I'm ACT, and or I'm
right.
ceramic tile. I got mine online. Of course, no one would say that, but they just say ceramic tile distribution, whatever. I forget the gentleman Donato's company where you can get a certification online, and he has great education on there, but it is online, and it's simply not as valuable as I think, understandably not as valuable as an in-person, hands-on, tested, pass-fail kind of situation. A couple of quick notes while I have it on my head here. CFI is doing a 2-week course here in Wichita introduction course into flooring. The 2-week course is a $2,500 value, and it's free, 100% free.
Wow.
So if you are a new person, the only requirement is that you're not, if you go and you're very experienced, you're not going to find value in the course. So you might as well not waste the 2 weeks. But if you're new, we have a couple of guys that we're going to be hiring. I'm trying to get this course filled because I would love for it to stay free, because I would love to use it as our hiring tool. Just saying straight up, you go to this course, you complete it, we'll loan you the 2 weeks worth of pay at 6 months of employment. That loan is forgiven, and we have somebody who's not completely green. So it is at Pruitt's training facility here in Wichita. It's a 2-week course. It's December 4th through the 15th, I believe.
Oh, that's coming up quick.
Yes,
Whoa.
and it kind of came about quick. I wish there was a little bit more time. The dates last week were not perfectly set, so I was not 100% on whether or not I couldn't really. I could bring it up, but I couldn't give dates last week. So I mean, but if you are anywhere close to Wichita, anywhere close, and I can confirm that it's worth $2,500. Their 5-week course is it's like $5,000 or $6,000, and it's a similar course. This is just condensed down into 2 weeks, so it's a very valuable course. Thank you to the people that are sponsoring that, which is the FCEF and the WFCA people. And the fact is that I'm going to see if I can pull up the
website so you can get.
Well, I don't know if it's made it to their website. I had let me see where that is at, and I will share it. But there is a flyer that I would like to share, and I can maybe leave that up for a moment so people can use the what is that called?
QR code.
QR code. Thank you. I'm looking and trying to think at the same time, and guys like me, that's like, come on, man. So, okay, I'm going to pull the QR code. Just to quickly let you know, the location is Pruitt Flooring, 723 East Skinner, Wichita, Kansas. So it's December 4th through the 15th, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. through 4 o'clock p.m. It's a completely free course, the CFI 2-week residential carpet course, and they will put I think they're completely open, I should say, to putting a little more commercial oriented things if they have enough commercial guys. I know we're sending a few commercial guys, and so there will be that aspect.
I'm looking at what you were talking about. I see the Wichita one, and then in February there's actually one in Jenison, Michigan, which is not far away from us. It's probably only 10 minutes, 15 minutes away.
Well, there you go. Let's pack these courses. Let me see here. I'm going to put this up so that it can be. There we go. I am just going to share my screen for a moment. Oh, host, Go Carrera, please enable me as to share for a moment if possible. But anyway, so pack that course. It's here in Wichita. Like Daniel said, there's one coming up in Michigan, very close to where they're located. So, getting through that course and if you're brand new, some of the guys going to the course here are in completely different fields and want to give flooring a try. And I'm like, there you go. Here's a
quick
like
intro
if they
to it.
2 weeks will at least give you a good taste of whether or not you want to do this. And if you complete it and you want to continue, we will hire you and we will pay you for your 2 weeks.
That's pretty awesome. What discipline
Yeah.
is it? Is it just a?
I think it's residential carpet.
It is residential carpet with, but there will be, just talk to the trainer. They'll put some commercial, and a commercial aspect to it if they have enough commercial oriented people. Um, at least, I believe that's true. The the other thing is you're not, I think they're going to do kind of an overview of just flooring in general. And a lot of these things like floor prep and stuff that they hit, you're not going to become a pro in 2 weeks. But what you are going to do is understand what a kicker looks like, understand how carpet is installed, understand some about how it's made, and just understand job site setups and things of this nature. So when you do get paired with a journeyman installer or a mechanic or whatever however they're referred to in your area, around here we call them mechanics. But when you are paired up with the mechanic, at least when they say, hey, go grab my XYZ out of the truck, you know what to go look for. And you don't get tricked into grabbing a tile stretcher or something like this guy. Because that kind of thing happens.
Vinyl base stretcher in the purple unicorn box.
Yeah.
That's a legit thing.
So here's the flyer, and the QR code. Let's see if we can bring the QR code bigger. So if you, I hope that works doing it this way. If you're on and you want to pop that QR code and register, that is how you will get the course for free. Very valuable course, guys. I can't, did that work,
Yeah.
Jose?
It did.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. There you go. So I'm going to leave this up for a minute while we talk through some of this stuff. Also, I want to remind everybody that we are doing the SIM scholarship for Go Carrera's sponsoring another SIM scholarship this year, and the details of that is on our social media. It will continue to be on the social media. I believe, Ashlyn, if you could send me a chat on the information when we close that. I believe it's January. I forget the date. I'll tell you here in a moment, as soon as I get my brain to tell me. Okay, application is open until December 18th. So you got about a month here to apply. And Ashlyn, where do we send people to apply? We will be announcing the winner on our January 9th huddle. So if you're watching this or you watch it on YouTube or later, make sure you're on the January 9th huddle. So with that being said, I'll share other details throughout the podcast here. There's a link on our Instagram page. I believe you guys, if you could share that link on your page, that'd be awesome. And we're also going to share it on all of the Huddle socials and show notes. So it should also be in the description. If you're watching this in YouTube, it's probably down in the description.
Doing a good job on blasting it out too. I think I've already gotten like 2 or 3 emails saying, this is what's going on. Make sure you apply.
Yeah, that's awesome. So look, a lot of the installers out there, I've said this before, this is a great course for you. It would be free course, and it's like $1,600 to do so, I believe, maybe even a little bit more. And so it's an awesome course. It can benefit you greatly, and you may not be on the email drip from the FCICA. If you're not, get involved here at the Huddle. Go through our link in our descriptions. It'll be on all of the socials and, like I said, the show notes. So that being said, what are we talking about when we say,
Charge what you're worth?
Charge what you're worth. And I posed the question that I think that you got to understand first, what is it that the consumer and that the stores you may work with value? I I mentioned the five that we see valuable at Go Carrera, and I see super valuable at the flooring company that I own, which is professionalism, attitude, punctuality, dependability, and exceptional quality. Now, these are all skills. Being on time, being where you say you're going to be, when you say you're going to be there, being a professional, these all take skills. I was not very polished when I was 20.
I was thinking the same thing. Man.
Yeah, these are skills that you learn over time, whether it's expanding your vernacular, your verbiage.
Haven't heard that word in a while. I love that word actually.
Vernacular.
I love it. Yeah.
Whether it's just presenting yourself in a more professional manner, even when we are dressed in our installation gear, we can be professional. I have plenty of examples of that. These guys have plenty of examples of installers who present themselves professionally, not just appearance-wise. That's part of it. You know, look like you took a shower and you did your hair.
Smell
And then
like it too. Smell like it too.
and smell like it too. But also, it's how you interact with your customer, and sometimes it's your customer's customer, so your store's customer. So if you're at someone's house and you're doing a job for a retailer, understanding how to interact with the homeowner is a skill set that you need to learn. That is valuable to companies.
100%.
I can tell you one of the highest paying jobs in flooring, albeit not one that I enjoyed. I'm just telling you from a overarching comment here is residential replacement. You got to move furniture. Well, you get paid to move it. At good stores, you're going to get paid well to move the furniture. Okay, work for good stores. But you're going to get paid well to move furniture. The store, if you're a professional with them, they're likely going to have your back if you get one of them homeowners that say, he scratched my bedpost and the scratch is 15 years old, like that kind of stuff that happens in the retail residential replacement. But it's also one of the higher paid per unit or per yard, per square foot that's out there. So understand who you're working for and what they see valuable in you. I mean, what do you guys see that's most valuable in an installer crew?
Well, I'm going to have to go back to like the evolution of how we became who we are and how it happened is through trial and error, right? Like learning from everyone else's mistakes. Now, granted, I didn't have the luxury of experiencing a whole lot of residential in the beginning, right? Because only one of the gentlemen did residential, the other one was just straight commercial. But it was a matter of slowly reinventing myself as I got older and progressed, and realizing you need to be relatable to everyone to create value from a visual perspective. The education. and all
So
that,
professionalism.
Yeah, 100%. I went from cut off sleeves and jeans with holes and that hung over my shoes, no belt. Well, I know I always wore a belt, but to wearing presentable jeans and sleeves all the time, and it wasn't.
Well, part of this, I hate to interrupt you, but
No,
part
go
of this is none of us probably got the best start. What we're trying to change in this industry is creating companies where the installation is valued and that you give your guys the tools to be able to do this. Like we give all of our guys get free shirts. Anytime they want them, they just grab them out of the supply closet, grab them anytime, keep your stuff looking good, presentable wise, talking to them about how to interact with the with the superintendents on projects and working with other trades. Those are all skill sets. If we as today's companies, how are you bringing along the people? Like, what do you see valuable? And then how are you bringing them along? Your and mine and probably even Daniel's initial entrance and experience in this industry probably wasn't a great measuring stick, if I'm
Yeah,
guessing,
it was a
right,
little rough,
through our conversations.
a little roughneckish, right? Like very, very rough around the edges there. But I think the when we started creating the value, it just came from being put in situations where we had to make a decision to go left or go right, and then it started making us realize that we had to create a level of professionalism that was universal, not towards commercial, towards residential, towards one demographic or the other. It was more of a universal thing, and that's where the visual value started coming in. The behind-the-scenes value started getting created when we experienced failures and started questioning what we're doing and why we're doing it, and how come we're doing it in a manner that someone who doesn't install is telling us to do it. And that's where the behind-the-scenes education portion came from, and we didn't understand the whole charge what you're worth at the beginning. We were just trying to get our foot in the door.
And that's what I dislike about the groups. And there's, constantly people in there talking about, what do you guys charge for this? What do you charge for that? And then instead of just giving them a straight answer, everyone's like,
if you don't know what to charge,
yeah, if you don't know what to charge, don't do it. Like, everyone started from somewhere, guys.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, and that's crappy to say anyway. I mean, at the end of the day, you I hope we're starting to influence installers to consider your cost. We went over this on a few podcasts. Consider what your costs are to do a job, and then what you need to bring home, what you desire, I should say, to bring home, and consider taxes, and then charge accordingly based off of your skill. Now, what I'm saying, you may not be that fast, so you feel like you have to charge more. But if your quality's there and your skill set's there, maybe you can. The point is like everybody should charge what they think is appropriate for themselves. And so, just building on that, it sounds like, when somebody says, how much should I charge, or what do you charge for this? That's hard. It's a hard question to answer. I don't think they should answer it in that manner, but it's certainly hard to say, well, I charge, you should charge $7 a square foot. Well, you got another guy on there. I like if an answer was, to preface this, I'm certified in ceramic tile, let's just use, through CTEF, and I've been installing, I'm a journeyman installer out of this place, and I've been doing it for 20 years, and I charge $12 a square foot. At least you have some context to how much you're charging and why.
That's actually a really good way to approach that. Yeah.
Because you have to look at someone's...
their accolades.
Yeah, because like what we charge for sheet vinyl is gonna be way different than what someone else charges, because we've done it to the point where we've mastered it. And can I get things done a lot faster? Yeah, but it took me 20 years to get to that point. So
Yeah.
I mean, so maybe I don't get it done faster. Maybe it takes me a little longer, but it's still gonna look way better, and I know it's gonna be done right. And that's what I'm charging for. I'm not charging because someone told me, hey, we're paying $9 a yard for sheet vinyl, because we've been told that before, and it's like, sorry about your bad luck. You can go find someone else that'll do it for that.
Yeah, we're paying $9 a yard. Well, I'm charging 18, or I'm charging 33, or whatever.
It's job specific,
right?
Like
and
Yeah.
honestly, there was one of the companies around here. They were like, we got this sheet vinyl, we need it done. We were like, send us the information. They came back at like, I think it was $8 a yard, and this was like 5-6 years ago probably. And that's exactly what we told them. We said we're not going to touch it for less than 18.
Yeah.
And that's too specific to our area, right? Like every region is slightly different based off of cost of living. So everyone in the audience, don't take that with a grain of salt. If it's that's the upper or lower range of what you guys are getting paid.
And the reason why I'm saying this, it's because I know what it's worth, right? I know
It's also
that.
supply demand driven. Like
Yes.
if you're in an area that has 15, which I'd love to know where this area is if it
Yeah.
exists, but like 15 or 20 like top level and sheet vinyl installers, then the price might be a little bit cheaper, but that's a supply demand metric that will vary. In our area, it pays between, probably 15 to 18, sometimes a little bit more. Not much. I don't recall in recent time that it's been less, but we also pay the lineal foot on cove and the per.
Well,
A lot of times, if there's too many boots, then we'll pay per boot, that kind of thing, and per lineal foot on heat welding and all this. So, really, what it boils down to is knowing what your worth is. I think that's the key.
Yes, yes, and I think I put on there is how to assess one's individual's value, right? Like your value, where you want to be at, where do you have to be at? How much money is your daily expenses and your daily operating costs? Where does that put you in order for you to be in the green? Because you want to be in the green, and you have to assess that. And a lot of the square footage and square yardage we've come up with is based off of where we got to be in the green, create an hourly rate that equates that per day, divide it into the square footage, square yardage, find a good median, average it out, and then try to use that as your control and go up and down from there.
Yeah, and if you're just like if you're younger in a given discipline or in the trade, you may have to take some work to prove yourself, but that's just business. Like I had to take
Yeah.
work, early on, maybe a little cheaper than I wanted to. You don't want to lose money ever, but still maybe not make what I wanted, but what I needed, and doing that so that I could prove myself, that I could prove that I do great work. Again, uh, if you're doing work over Go Carrera, you walk into a shop with that proof. If you have done work across the network and gotten some kudos and gotten this stuff, and by the way, for everybody, we're getting ready to release a profile upgrade that's going to really increase the value of your profile. It's going to look incredible, and companies will really get that insight that they really starve for. So, but that aside, point is, if you are a little newer to the installation industry, or maybe you're trying your hand at sheet vinyl and you've been a carpet installer and you went through some courses and now you want to start doing sheet vinyl because your area is paying well, you may have to take on some work at a little less rate to prove yourself. But hey, at the end of the day, once you've done that, you get in a position like you guys are where, hey, man, quality first. I assumed that was always your first thing, was quality.
100%.
And then you got speed later. Is that right, Daniel? Is that kind of how you approached it?
We don't even call it speed, right? It's efficiency. It's getting more efficient at it. So with efficiency comes the speed. So we don't go and be like, yeah, we're the fastest. No, we're the most efficient.
Yeah, and that efficiency long term is the long term value that we offer that separates us, right? Like someone can be really fast and get the room done really fast, but every time you got to go visit that project to fix a punch list, every time you got to go back to fix base that's curling off, to fix flash scope that's bubbling up, to fix a seam, right? Now you're taking time out of your day and you're going back. Where do you end up?
Costs go up.
Costs go up. So we try to incorporate all of our knowledge and our experience into that, so we don't have to.
You have to take it that one project at a time, because if this project goes a certain way, then you look at the numbers and you're like, man, like we gotta up it. Like there is no question about it, because Paul from the UK he says he's doing some herringbone Carndine product, and since he's from the UK, he says he's getting 10 pounds a meter, which I don't know what the
Anybody got a calculator?
Right. But at some point you have to look at your your clients too, right? Like if you're working for a store, sometimes maybe that's not the right store for you and you have to start looking somewhere else. I mean, there's been plenty of times where we did that, and it's like sometimes you have to fire your clients because it's just not worth it. They don't have the same values as you. If you're pushing out all this exceptional quality work and they're just not paying you for it, even you time and time again conversation.
If you can't lead them to water.
So, the other guys, the other stores that we worked for, we talked to them about it, and they were like, you know what, you're right. It has been a while, and they'll apologize. You know what, I'm sorry. Like, time gets away from me. I don't realize it, and I've been going in at the same numbers. So let us know where we need to be, so that way when we're bidding, it's a constant evolution too. Like, you raise it a quarter, and then once you get that job, then the next project you raise it another quarter, and it's constantly, a little bit at a time, baby steps, right? I like from The Office, Kevin once said, "Many small time make big time," and it's my deal ever since.
Say that about everything. I do want to go back to something you had mentioned about we were talking about how to equate the rates, and you mentioned about doing a project. Sometimes you got to get your foot in the door, do a project. If I told you that my long-term goal on a couple projects was to create value, like we talked, like, dude, that's not even nowhere near enough money for this project. They had 3 people say they can't do it. That is impossible. It would look really good on our resume. And some of those are investments, right? Like, some of those projects we took were investments because we knew that afterwards it would create more value, right? It's something that we can say, hey, this is what we're capable of doing, and it gave us more value too. So some of those jobs, you guys out there, like, you got to look at it like that too. Like, I don't want to make big money on this, but what can it do for me long term?
Have you guys ever had somebody say, well, it only took you 3 days to do that? I mean,
Yep.
I should get a discount or something or whatever. And I'm like,
bought our demo machine.
What? I mean, because I'm more efficient and better and faster than you expected, you want to pay me less because I'm better? That makes no sense.
As soon as we purchased our demo machine, that's what happened. And I'm not going to lie, dude, I steamed up right away. I mean, I was upset, but I was able to maintain my composure. And I was like,
well, the best comeback is always, you're not paying for the job. You're not paying me to just lay sheep on it. You're paying me for the 10 to 15 years that it took for me to learn and be as good and as efficient and as quality as I am. You're not paying for today. You're paying for the 15 years it took me to get as good as I am today. And there's a lot of truth to that.
Because they can for sure go hire anyone off the street to go do that, and they can mess it up real quick, especially, it doesn't matter what type of flooring, but especially sheet vinyl.
Yeah, I've had that problem. I think I shared it on the podcast one at a time, and it hurts so bad I'm not going to share it again.
Yeah. That's
So, I mean,
so identifying the value, the value prop and what people are desiring.
And the biggest thing is actually keeping track of your projects and knowing exactly what you're making, right? Because you can say, yeah, I made this much on this project, but what's your profitability on that? Like, it doesn't matter if you made this much and then you're at a break-even point, that dollar amount is irrelevant. How much did you actually make on it? Because we're all in business to make money, right? Like,
not for practice.
We're there to have money in the bank, because we all know that any construction that you're in is gonna have a slow time, and you have to plan for that. So make sure you have that profit. Everyone has overhead, whether you think you do or not. Your vehicle is a part of your overhead. Fuel,
maintenance, your house that you use as your office, like all that stuff matters. And I think that also remembering, and I keep harping on what people value, because I've had really, really good installers that I've worked with and partnered with on projects that have a shitty attitude and are hard to deal with, and I've quit using them. I mean, if you're gonna make my life so hard and throw up these problems all the time without any solutions, that gets exhausting, and your quality can be secondary at that point. So quality is probably, if I had to say what's most important, it's always quality. But outside that, your attitude and how you deal with people, and realizing we're all humans just trying to get a job done. And we all have these external pressures on us to get a job done, quicker, quicker, quicker. And unfortunately, that's just how construction is. So I don't care if you're an electrician or a flooring guy, that's just how construction is. So quality's first, but also care about your client, care about the store you're working for, care about making them look great. One of the great prides I had was when I was working by the hours, when my company would tell me my cost on that job. And if I had a low installation cost, and that I was proud that I was making my company money. I still feel like that's a valuable characteristic to have as an installer, is be proud that your company that you're working for is making money, or that if you're working directly with homeowners, that you're improving their lifestyle, because they're going to go on your new floor, they're going to take showers in your new tile shower, they're going to be looking at it all the time, knowing, thinking in their mind how beautiful it is. Like, you are providing a tremendous value. So just remember that when you present yourself, and don't ruin your great quality with a shitty attitude. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%. And one thing too for creating value is consistency. That helps create value for individuals. And what you just said too about the hours, when I worked for a company hourly too, they would put estimated hours for a project, right? And that was for them to be profitable. That was a challenge to me, always a challenge. Mm-hmm. Oh, we have 120 hours on this job. I got this many people, this many days. Let me see what I can do to beat that. And I would track all that.
I wish my company would have been that sophisticated to tell me what or care enough to tell me. They just come tell me what my job cost afterwards. They tell me, but
I would have that goal on there. And recently I started trying to put that in our work orders, but as soon as I started doing that, it just seemed like that number nobody paid attention to it. Hours exceeded that. Like, these are the hours we need for us to be profitable, right? If we're here or below, we're profitable. If we're above this, then we start chipping away at margins. And as soon as I started putting those hours on there, margins started chipping away past the 80 hours. Oh,
I think that's why companies may not do that. Some people, I mean, just to be transparent and honest here, some people are going to look at that and say, well, I've got this many hours to do it, and that's how long it's going to take me to do it. And don't desire to beat that. Don't see that as a challenge. But the ones who see it as a challenge, like yourself, look at what you've done. I mean, I wish I could impart some of you guys into some of these characteristics that come out in the podcast, and like implant them into some of the installation people that we've dealt with over the years.
Same with you, man, because there's a lot of similarities from start to finish. There's a ton, and work ethic is work ethic, no matter what, right? Values are values, no matter what. Integrity is integrity, right? Like there's not today I'm not going to be that. No, integrity is a
it's a character trait.
Yeah, it's a character trait, and had it since day one, and I think that's where the value for myself started being created, is when I worked for someone else, I represented them the best possible way, right? Because not only was I representing the company that I worked for, I was still representing myself, right? But
I mean, we always represent ourselves, and I think that's important for people to realize. But be okay representing your company in a positive manner, like that don't just be okay, strive for that. I think that that is just an aspect that, especially if you're dealing with a lot of subcontractors, them wanting the accolades of a good project to go to them and not to the company they work for. Well, we get the same thing. No one walks into my commercial, even if the sheet vinyl is so beautiful, no one walks in there and says, "Hey, who was the flooring contractor on this?" They say, "Who was the designer? Who was your architect? Who was your builder?" They get all the accolades that we put all the hard work in. I appreciate that. I'm glad they get that, because if they're getting that positive feedback, they know I did the job. They know I'm a big portion of why they're getting those accolades. I'm going to get more work from that client. I'm going to get more work from that GC because they know that. So it's okay, is my point.
Yes.
Kendall says he doesn't work hourly, but how does a person find a fair hourly wage in our field? And I think that's a loaded question, because it's like, are you an employee? Are you working for yourself? A lot of what we talk about is basically based on self-employed people, right? Because building a business and stuff like that. So really, in reality, you need to figure out what your target is per year and then break that down. Like, typically you're working 2,040 hours, 2,080 hours without any vacation or anything. So how much do you need to make a year? Divided by that number, that's how much you should be at hourly, at least.
Yeah, and that's a tough question because all the qualifications come in behind it.
Yes.
So I would say, and it also greatly varies by your demographic area or your geographic area. So if you're in, California, and if you're in Orange County, your hourly rate is going to be much higher than Wichita, Kansas. It just is.
Well,
I mean,
I
you can
mean,
still buy
when
a
we-
house.
when we
You
went
can
to-
still buy a house here for $150,000. You can't buy a house in Orange County for 150.
When we
You
were,
can't buy a container house in Orange County for 150.
When we were at Forbo, there was a bunch of guys from New York there, and they were like, if we're not making over $100,000 a year, like we can't live in New York. He said my taxes on my house are like $26,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I think we're in a higher taxed area where I live, and my property taxes on our house is like $5,000, and I'm like, oh my God, 26,000. But that's the point. Is it matters where you're at. But I would say that's why your calculation, Daniel, has to come in. Like, you got to find out where your bottom dollar is, and then start stacking. Okay, if I have to make this. I bring extra value because I am Forbo certified. I am, XYZ, whatever. I'm also, been to 4 different trainings on proper floor prep, and or if you're in the tile world, and I'm Laminam certified and slimline certified in the gauge porcelain panels or whatever. You can stack those on and say, okay, well, I need to make $42 an hour. I live in this area, and that's what it calls for. If you're here in Wichita and you make in the mid to high 30s, you're really good, and that's about what the pay is for a quality and high quality installer. I know down in Texas, if you can find, it's kind of like a unicorn, but if you can find an hourly installer down there, no, they're down there, but the vast majority of Texas is subs. In fact, the vast majority of the
Everywhere
United
there's subs.
States, if you take the whole amount, is 80. The statistics say 87% of all flooring you've walked across is installed by subs. So, but if you were down in a certain part of Texas, you might you might be at $28 an hour. I don't know all the different ranges of the different areas on an hourly basis, but if kind of that midline, I would say if you're a high quality installer is at 25 to $35. I know that's a big window, but somewhere in there is probably, but it changes by geographic so much. It's hard to like put to really answer
Right,
that.
and then once you start getting to the employees too, you have to start looking at the entire package, the package as a whole.
Uh,
What is provided, what don't you need to buy, healthcare,
great
everything like
point.
that.
I mean,
I
yeah.
mean,
So consider that. I mean, we provide healthcare to our installers, just like we do for our office staff. We don't treat anybody different. We all have the same benefits. Um, so that's
that's it.
if you don't know, health care costs are very, very expensive. So
They
take
just went
that
up
into
again too.
account.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
ours went up 8.4%.
we got so lucky this year. Ours is up just under 4,
Oh
but
man.
still up. We
Well, last
most
year it was
companies
like 14%.
Well, this
most
year,
companies
Yeah,
were
well,
more
this
like
year.
last year. Maybe we took the hit last year and didn't take it this year, but I know a lot of companies that are up 12 to 20%
Yeah,
this
yeah,
year.
me
So
too. I
healthcare, all those benefits are, do you have a vehicle provided? Is your gas covered? Do you drive the
tools,
vehicle
yeah.
home? Do you pick the vehicle up at the office every day? All these things need to be considered when you're thinking about your overall compensation package with the company. But I don't know that helped Kevin at all, but just kind of it was
Kendall,
Kevin,
yeah,
right? Did I say that
Kendall.
right?
Kendall.
Kendall, sorry.
You
I
know
don't
what?
know if that answered Kendall's question, but I know
It
it's
gave him a lot more to think about. I could tell you that because they're like
yeah,
Daniel said, it's a loaded question. Kendall, like,
yeah.
good luck. Yeah, just all I would say is that if you're wrong on the price and you have an introductory or hourly rate, just remember you can always go up. But as soon as you tell someone, sorry, you're not worth what you said, I'm going to take you down here, you can pretty much kiss them goodbye, right? Nobody wants to go back. So figure out a game plan that works for you, and maybe do like a probationary period, saying if you
Or
say you
if
have value,
it sounded like he was a sub, maybe not a direct question for himself, but as a guiding light for maybe he's looking to hire someone.
yeah,
What I always say if you're on the employer side is, there's once you've considered the whole value of that installer, it's hard to know until you've worked for a little bit of time. So we have this period of 60 to 90 days where we're going to set you at this. And then after that, we're going to adjust. And it's going to be based on these 5 metrics that I've mentioned, professional, attitude, punctuality, dependability, and your quality. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be a full-fledged installer if you're just getting into it. You can be a quality helper. Like you can be a quality apprentice, care about the way that things are done, and do the job duties that you have in a quality manner. All that to me is how after 90 days, then we'll set the person at where we believe from those metrics, how the value that they provide to us, and thus the value we provide to the marketplace, and thus the directly affects the amount of money that we can charge. And so that make yourself as valuable as possible, and you won't even have to worry about it.
Right. I've been seeing a lot of these TikToks come across, and this dude is talking about how people are these days when they're just like they think that just by showing up they're worth so much more. I'm here every day. I should be making this much, but they're not providing any value to. They're not trying to learn. They're just you can like he'll say all the time. I can show up every day and not do anything and think that I'm worth more, but it's what are you doing to add value? And that
Yeah,
goes
it's
for
it's
being an employee and being a contractor in general, and knowing what you're worth. It's what value are you providing to the clients so that way they know that you're worth this much.
Yeah, I've had it told to me, and I like this analogy, but it's like a paid parking spot. It's only valuable if someone's using it, like if it's useful, right? Otherwise, it's just sitting there and it's costing whoever it is. So if you're like an empty parking spot, meaning you're not providing any additional value, but you're there, then you're actually going to probably cost your employer money.
Yes.
So be valuable. Like, I don't know where that whole, the pendulum will swing the other way, but I don't know where this whole thought process came to be. Like, you have to provide value to the marketplace. And
Trophy
whether
by
you're an
participation.
employee
We're
or,
in the information age, right? And everything is blasted out on social media everywhere. And I see a bunch of stuff about, people bragging about how they go to work and they don't do anything all day. And, it's like, it's a flex to them that they don't do anything at work all day and then their employer has to pay them. Like,
yeah, like that's I don't know. I'm a value driven person. I place my own worth on producing and doing things and providing value, whether it's to my family or to my friends or to my colleagues or to the marketplace. I don't doing as little as possible and expecting as much as possible is
Oh,
just
oh,
stay away. If you're that type of person, you're not my kind of guy. I
yeah.
mean, I could lose some friends over that one maybe, but at the end of the day, that's true. I'm
It's
just
true.
telling you right
Yeah.
up. If you think that if you're that type of person that thinks I'm going to do as little as possible and expect as much as humanly possible, you're not
and
my type of
right, and
person.
this goes back to the conversation. I mean, it's been probably on a few podcasts now where, when I was not too deep into the trade, and I'm telling him, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, they're only paying me this much, and he's like, well, that's why they're only paying you this much, because you feel like you're you're not getting paid enough, so you're not wanting to do anything. So it's like, provide that value, then get the residuals. It's not the other way around. It's not, give me this much money and then I'll start doing something.
Yeah.
Like, people need to just change their mindsets, and it's hard to talk to people with that mindset because they don't understand.
Yeah. I always had this thing where, and I probably get it from my mother and a few of my uncles growing up. It's don't ask for handouts if you're not putting in the work, right? Like, make it hard for them to tell you no. Make it hard for them to not see the value. And if you do offer the value and you create value within yourself and you approach them and they say, "I'm sorry, we don't see it," then guess what? It's time for you to move on. But don't be delusional either, right? Like, don't create this facade where the trophy by participation thing, where your value is up here because you just want it to be up there, but you're not really showing the work. The parking spot.
Well,
Like,
that's probably part of just the social media stuff. I mean, we all use it or consume some stuff off social media, but the truth is that a lot of times it glorifies this idea of not doing much and getting a lot.
yeah,
There's more get rich quick schemes than ever. I mean, they've always been around and they've always attracted people, so they've always stayed around. But those get rich quick schemes are that mentality, like I'm going to do as little as possible and get paid as much as possible. Now, I'm not saying you can't take advantage of things. There's investment opportunities in the world. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what you personally provide to the marketplace or to your employer, pseudo the marketplace, is your value. And you can't, the more skill you acquire, the better you present yourself, the more effective you are, the more pleasant you are, the more you're gonna be worth. The math is math to me. That to me, this is like mathematics, and this idea that a lot for a little, it never works. Long term, it never
yeah,
works.
it never does.
And so, you want to be careful if you're in that mindset. I don't know that we got off track. We just went really
bit.
deep on what the value of you, what your value is, and understanding, that that's a big part, what you're providing, to, charging what you're worth. That being said, if you are high value and you're working for someone who's trying to bust you down, and not pay you what you're worth, what are some tricks? We kind of touched on some of those early on in this podcast, but what is some of your guys' thoughts there?
I mean, this everything goes back to communication, right? The people don't know unless you say something, and it all has to start with that conversation. We have to go to, whoever we're doing work for, and say. Sometimes it's like, we do one job and then the next job, and they're like, "How is this so much more?" And it's like, "Man, I did the math and I didn't make any money last time, so I'm sorry, but I got to charge you more."
Right.
Like it's just that natural evolution. It's the same thing if you're an employee. It's like don't go and demand stuff. It's like, hey, I think that I'm worth a little bit more. What can we do in order to get to this place? Right. What it's not even what can we do, it's what can I do to provide more value to you? What do you need me to do in order to be able to make this is where I want to be? Where do I need to get from this point to this point?
You know what? You just made me think of this right here too. And this, I'm going to go back to beginning of the football season with my son. We were missing practices because we had overlap baseball. And he said, he's been practicing hard. He wanted to get more playing time, but he wasn't getting the playing time beginning of the season. And I told him to go talk to the coach. Hey, coach, what can I do to present more value to the team so that way I can be on the field a little bit more? Where am I falling short? Right? That was dude. The coach came up to me afterwards in tears. Like, I've never had a 10-year-old ask me that. He's like, I
That's
didn't know
phenomenal,
what to say.
dude. And that's great guidance from you, by the way. Like,
I didn't want to do it for him. I needed him to do it and step up, right? He needed to figure it out for himself, and it needed to be authentic from him. And it worked. He says, well, you're missing practices and this. And he's like, well, we already told, so-and-so we were going to miss because I have baseball. But, what can I work on afterwards when I'm here? And, dude, like, from then on, it was just, like, totally different, everything. And that's what, like Daniel said, communication. If no one comes and talks to me here in the office when they have a chance, I don't know, right? I don't know. And if someone has if someone's in a position where they feel that they are more valuable, come and talk. Say, hey, this is why I'm more valuable. Show me, show me. Hey, this is what I've been tracking. This is what I bring to the table. This is what I would like to do. This is where I would like to be. Okay, and then just be ready to have a discussion, right? Like, all right, well, this is what I see, so let's work on this. I don't have a problem. Like, I love your plan. Like, I love it. I want to pay you more money because you're making the company more money. So let's be better together, right? Let's figure this out. And a lot of times that's what's going to happen.
I think that there is a ton of great information that's come out here. I hope everybody's grabbed a few nuggets on, increasing your value so you can charge what you're worth. Frankly, you can charge what you're worth, but the higher your value, the more you can charge. Period.
Yes.
I don't care whether you're hourly or sub. And I can really appreciate how going to you and communicating and asking, like, hey man, I want to go up. I'd like to get an increase in pay. What kind of things do I need to do to increase my pay? That if people do that, or if a sub comes to or whoever.
Oh, that's our internet.
Feel good about that. Maybe it's as simple as like, hey man, if you clean up your job site a little bit better, where I don't always have to send someone behind you. It could be something simple. So communication, it seems to come up on every topic, but communication is a piece of this. And then don't be scared to ask for what you're worth when you have a full understanding of what that is.
Yeah, 100%. 100.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Our internet just keeps on going out.
Some value out of this. I want to reiterate here before we part. The 2-week course here in Wichita. Daniel, do you recall the one up in Michigan again?
It was in February. I think I still have it pulled up.
So December 4th through the 15th is in Wichita. It's a 2-week course. It's free. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and share this for the last little bit, this QR code.
Right, and
this is
the one in Jenison, Michigan in February is, by you sharing your screen, it took me off.
Oh,
it is February 5th through 16th.
And I did post that link from that QR code right on the live feed. So I shared the Huddle's live feed, and I posted in the comments on my.
Yeah, Ashley, if you'll share this in our socials and on our in our description on the Huddle, that would be excellent as well. Get to that, and the last reminder is the SIM scholarship. Make sure to apply. I wish everybody the best. It's always fun, honestly. I say always. Last year was our first year, but it was a really fun experience to give that away and somebody win something like that and be so appreciative. So, put your name in the hat. It doesn't matter if you're in the office or out in the field. You'll find value in that course. And this 2-week course, if you're new, you're going to find a lot of value in that. I promise you, at least on the Wichita one, and I'm sure the same is in Michigan, but I know the trainers. These guys are good, and they're going to understand kind of what they'll watch you over that 2 weeks. They're going to know what you're kind of gravitating towards and help you get better and prepare you for the marketplace. And if you're in Wichita, I'll hire you. So
they got a pretty good setup there too. So it's nice.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Well, as always, I super appreciate the conversation. It's been fun. Went by fast, but
it did.
like they do when you get into a role. So I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Everyone.
Enjoy some time with family.
A bunch of turkey.
And
I'm not going to.
Turkey.
are you guys off turkey? Daniel, one of the guys here, my partner at Go Carrera, said I cook steak every year.
Dude,
I was like, I like mine.
One year we did tacos. One year I think I did a prime rib, but
I don't eat any of the turkey. I'll be honest. Like I've been over that for a very long time. My sister.
I don't know why. There's something nostalgic to it for me. You may not, and most people don't know my background, but growing up, we didn't really celebrate that kind of thing when I was a little kid. It wasn't until I was a teenager that, unfortunately, my parents got divorced and remarried, and my dad's new wife was all about these holidays, and so it was like my first. It was the traditional turkey, maybe a spiral ham. Something nostalgic about turkey for me. I really love that this time of year. So maybe it's just family. So
we have it all the time.
Hang out with yours and enjoy it. Huh?
We have turkey there all the time. I'm just saying I don't eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. No. All right, guys.
Thank you, sir.
We will talk to you a little bit later. And Ashlyn, if you could cut us out.
See ya.